My mother-in-law held my daughter, looked me in the eye, and said, "It's a shame her skin is so dark, otherwise she'd be perfect." When I flashed my husband a look, she just smiled. I stayed silent. That was 3 months ago. This morning, she was crying in her jail cell, refusing to speak to her lawyer. I am a tanned, curly-haired Egyptian, while my husband Dan is a blonde, blue-eyed white man. I've been living in the US for the last 10 years, and no one has been racist towards me until we announced our engagement to our families. Because everyone was ecstatic, except my mother-in-law Martha. At first I figured it was just an off day for her, until I went to hug everyone. Because instead of hugging me back, she just stood there frozen and said, "Yeah, congrats, I guess." I know I should have been able to ignore her, but it hurt a lot, because I always had this image of my future, and it always involved a big happy family, so gaining her approval was everything to me. But just before I could say anything else, she ran inside the house crying. And when I tried to run after her, she said, "Stop following me. You're destroying the bloodline." I completely froze and just started zoning out. When I told my husband what happened, he immediately reassured me that it was us against the world, and I'd always be the most important woman in his life. We made love that same night, and 3 weeks later, we saw the 2 pink lines on a pregnancy stick. Throughout the pregnancy, my husband continued to prioritize me and our baby girl, meaning I didn't have to see anyone I didn't want to, including my mill, Martha. And just when I thought I couldn't possibly love anything more than Dan, Layla was born. She was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. She had my mom's luscious curls, her dad's icy blue eyes, and my tan skin. At that moment, I knew there was nothing in this world that could stop me from protecting her. My entire family loved her and spammed pictures of her on their private Instagram accounts, and Dan's family were equally as obsessed with her. So I knew our baby girl had the village to raise her, the one we always dreamed about. It was around this time that my mother-in-law got back in touch with Dan. She had seen all the baby photos and was begging to be a part of Layla's life. After me and Dan discussed it in depth, we agreed that most grandmothers are practically incapable of hating their grandchildren, despite how they feel about their DIL. So for this reason, we agreed that she could meet Layla, under monitored supervision from us both, obviously. Martha came over the next day. As soon as she looked at Layla, I saw her pupils enlarged to 3 times the size. I really thought she loved her. Me and Dan even let her pick Layla up, and our baby girl looked so happy I almost cried. "It's a shame her skin is so dark, otherwise she'd be perfect," Martha said, while holding Layla in her arms. Anger boiled my blood, and I flashed my husband a look. He shut it down, and there were no further comments made. She came over a few more times after that, and other than the cold glares she'd shoot my way, or the remarks to my husband about how it's not too late to move on, we were getting along pretty well. Sometimes we'd even let her babysit on Friday nights when me and Dan wanted to go on a walk by the beach, never longer than an hour. But as soon as our family was built, it was destroyed. It all started with a phone call. My brother had been in a car crash and was in the hospital. He tried to play it down as if it wasn't a big deal, but I knew better. I insisted on going to visit him, and because I was such a nervous wreck, Dan said he'd drive me. It was so last minute that no one else was available to babysit Layla.